Gremlin right here. The question I wanted to ask Grim's been involved with the b-boy scene since day one. Um, Founder of the Pro-Am with Speedy Legs. I wanted to ask him, from you throwing events, with the Pro-Am in Miami and stuff like that, what's your opinion on the events that you were throwing back then compared to what you see today in the b-boy scene with Red Bull?
So, just to be clear, as a producer or a promoter, you have the opportunity to produce any type of event you want. When I created the B-Boy Masters Pro-Am Conference, which is a conference, it's not an event, it's a 4-day, 11-event conference. So just so that we know. So there's a big difference. It's 4 days long and there's 11 events. So to compare Red Bull as a 1-day or 2-day event with maybe semifinals to finals or something like that, like you get one level and then you go to the championship level. It's a different concept, right? But inside of the program, we had many different events. So we, on the opening night, it was more like a meet and greet, more community, cultural based, just getting your badges, talking to people, chilling, playing music, ciphering. There was no competitions, it was just all about culture. As we moved into the first big day, which was Friday, it was a theatrical experience, education experience, and so there was demonstrations, competitions, battles, but not for money or prizes, but for the value of historic values and of being able to educate people on how we judge and how we think about judging and style versus skill or footwork versus power move, all these kind of things, just to kind of educate people. And so the theater experience was showing b-boy and b-girling and the other dance styles in a theatrical light on a theater stage, because I was in a show called Jam in the Groove at the time, Get Originals at the time. So the idea behind a conference by showing many different varieties of ways to show your art is another concept. When we talk about Red Bull's BC1, it's coincidence we talk about that because I was the creative director for the first Red Bull BC1 in America.
Oh, okay.
So I actually was the creative director for it. And I just took one of our competitions that was inside of the Pro-Am, which was our Skills 3000 day, and I just took one competition out of it and I kind of built off of that concept. The Pro-Am was Professional and Amateur, Professional America, which was a double name, which was based on things that already happened. There were already golf Pro-Ams. There was
I remember that.
all different types of Pro-Ams that happened. This just means professional and amateurs get to compete in the same realm.
Oh, that's what it means,
Pro,
okay.
that means you get money. When you're an amateur, you compete for prizes. And then once you go pro, you get money. It's just like any other sport. I boxed as an amateur with Police Athletic League, and I wanted to go pro as a boxer so I can get paid. So the difference between professional and amateur is just if you get paid, you don't get paid. So the Pro-Am was humbling the professionals to compete against the amateurs. So that's why the competition had people that were famous from a crew that have been known to get paid money, battling against people that were unknown, that people had never even seen get down before. So that's why the concept was what it was. When I did the BC1, it was a concept. Red Bull wanted to do a breakdancing championship event. So I put together an event, and what I did, they still use to this day. The very first BC1 in America was at the Henry Fonda Theater. That's the place I chose in Hollywood to do the event. And I was the person that said, let's make it a round stage and to place cameras every 12 inches or 1 foot around the stage, just like mocking up what they did in the NBA. So if you wanted to see a player like this and then have the cameras go around him to see this part of him frozen, to be able to get that, you would have to film in a 360 degrees to get every angle of a move. So it was a very expensive event. I had DJ Tony G from the KD Mixmasters spin for that. I had Ralph M spinning upstairs in the VIP lounge from Funk Dubious and K-Day. I had B-boys that were from different generations judging, and then I handpicked top B-boys from America to be at that event. You can take a look online and you can see it. That event is still the exact same formula that they still use till today. They try to stick with that round stage, the same camera work. But what has changed was I had invited the culture to be there, to be a part of it, and they invited the industry. So there was a mixture between culture and industry in the very first one. And we were giving light to people in the house. I had Grandmaster Kaz and the Colkers Brothers as the host. So I put together a blueprint for them. An authentic MC, an authentic DJ that were known in the scene, authentic judges from different places, different generations. That was the blueprint. And the circle stage and the camera. It doesn't matter what building you choose. The concept is still the same. And so it was made as a 2 to 4 hour spectacle. That means you sit and watch it. You don't participate. You're not going there to be in it. So it's not a culture event. It was completely a competition, professional production.
Oh,
and
okay.
to be filmed, to become a movie. So we were filming in front of the live audience, basically. And that's how I produced that event.
That was in 2001?
Their first year was a little bit after that. First year in USA, it might have been 2003, somewhere around there. It's the year that Ronnie won against Rock's Right in Africa, because after Speedy won my event in LA, Speedy, you know Speedy?
Yeah, Speedy.
Yeah, Speedy.
Unique
won.
Styles?
Yeah, from Florida.
Yes.
So he won my event, and I flew to Africa with him. And in the finals was Rock's Right versus Ronnie.
Yeah.
That's when Ronnie won. So the year Ronnie won is the year that I produced the Red Bull Beast one in the US. So yeah, it's just a totally different thing. We were producing events, all of us. There were so many of us producing events that all of them have the same elements. Like the competition format of going from, matching them up head to head, and it goes to the brackets to a championship. It's a very simple concept that's used in many different sporting events. So it wasn't like we were inventing a wheel. We were using the wheel that we thought was most appropriate for breaking as a culture, not as a sport.
Okay.
Now it's changed to being very point-oriented, which is more sporting. The further you go into sports, the more you get into points and rankings and all of those type of things.
Yeah.
So now you would have to be, within the pool. If you're not identified in the pool, you can't compete in the pool. And then you'd have to be able to earn a ranking, win somewhere to be identified. And so that's kind of, it was supposed to grow to that, which was really cool. So, but, like I said, it wasn't supposed to replace cultural events. It wasn't supposed to be the only thing to train for. It was just one of the many brand names that you would want to be in a circuit to win. Because if you're competing and it's your lifestyle, you don't have enough lifestyle if you're only competing once a year. You need to be competing many times a year all over the place. And you don't want to compete in the same brand over and over only because you're only training yourself to be good at one set of rules and regulations and judging format. So if you're in another competition, they'll have a different format or another possible rules. There's so many different events, and every producer of events has the right to make up their own idea of what is the way to have a competition. So the best idea for a b-boy or b-girl is to try to be in many different competitions, to make you look more well-rounded as a dancer and as a competitor.
Thank you, Grims. I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.